On Focus today, we are looking at the fine that the Central Bank of Nigeria has come to impose on MTN and 4 other banks in the economy, alleging that they behave illegally in the foreign exchange markets. My guest today is Muktar Mohammed, who is the CEO of Finance with Muktar. Welcome.
Thank you, Effiong.
Position for us, your impression about what the central bank has done with MTN and 4 other banks, that in terms of the fine that they are to pay.
Well, it calls for concern. If it's taking over more than a month for us to get to the root of this matter, and if the CBN is acting now for money that has been repatriated about almost 6 months ago, it calls for concern for us as a country on the way we do things. And then if it has acted promptly at the right time, then would have been so excited that then the regulators are up to their game. But when you are acting so late, and a lot of people begin to ask, is this victimization? Why didn't you stop it? And if you look at the kind of cash that was sent out, you're talking about 8 something billion dollars. I wonder how such a transaction should leave the system without the CBN raising red flag, if at all they didn't sanction those transactions.
From what we have heard, the central bank is alleging that the certificate of capital importation that MTN has been using to do business and in the end repatriate profit to South Africa, there are question marks on that certificate. What do you make of that?
It's scary. It calls for serious concern. If you can repatriate such a huge sum of money with a fake certificate, then we are in for a we as a nation, we need to begin to look at how we are doing, and the regulators also should be sanctioned, because whoever is responsible for that particular transaction should be sanctioned and be called to order. Because if you are transferring about $8.1 billion out of the Nigerian economy, that is huge. And in the market whereby this transaction took place at the time we're talking about CBN monitoring the transaction in terms of forex out, in and within Nigeria, I mean exiting Nigeria, then you need to call the authorities' attention to that. Maybe the regulators were not really doing their work, or somewhere somebody was not doing what he's supposed to do.
Now let's talk about Stanbic IBTC, which is a quoted bank. Stanbic recently came up with a rebuttal that it never did wrong, that the central bank okayed its ability to repatriate the profits of MTN to South Africa. What do we make of that?
Well, you expect them to respond as a company that's quoted in the stock exchange, and that also have to make investors take a position on them. And you could see after their response, the day that announcement was made, it was like Stanbic was a little bit neither here nor there about going down. But after they respond, I think the investing public seems to be more confident in Stanbic, even Diamond Bank, than even the regulators. You saw their price, the share price close on the positive.
All this while, we have seen Diamond Bank lying low, not talking or attacking the regulator as others. Why is Diamond Bank adopting that strategy?
I'm sure the Diamond Bank are talking to CBN. They are presenting documents to CBN. They are telling them, look, we got approval, we didn't get approval. This is why we carried out the transaction, or this is why we didn't carry out the transaction. I think that's what Diamond Bank is doing at the moment. And again, it's also like a confident booster that they didn't rush to revoke it or to say anything about it.
Now, let's look at the behavior of other foreign companies operating in Nigeria. It is being alleged in many quarters that they do not appear to respect the laws of the nation and that they take many things for granted. What's your response to that?
Well, there are many foreign companies that are operating as good citizens, and up until now, MTN was one of those companies that were operating as a corporate citizen, doing corporate social responsibility, until we saw this come out. And the problem is that nobody will actually help you in your own economy. Your regulators have to be on top of their game. They have to be the one doing what they have to do. If you watch NCC at the point sanctioned MTN over illegal registration of some phone numbers, and they had to pay the regulators from that. I remember part of the decision was that MTN should be listed in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Unfortunately, FTA was not even listed in the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Up to this moment, I can tell you that in Ghana, MTN will be listed in the Ghana Stock Exchange any moment from now, and this had nothing to do with sanction. And yet this is a country whereby we've done this, and we told them to list in it. So they keep on shifting their listing date. Up to this moment, they have not come out clearly to tell us when they're listed. And here we are, they won't be listed in Ghana any moment from now. So it tells you the type of regulators we have, the way we transact business, and the way we take our own business. It calls for two things. Two things can be happening here. One, it will be lack of leadership, and then it could be lack of leadership expertise in handling some of these issues. It might not generally just be that the regulator doesn't know what to do. It might just be that the regulator doesn't know what to do, or they don't have the leadership to do it.
So as it is, MTN is manipulating the system, you may say?
Well, every business has the right to manipulate the system when you give them the loophole. Every businessman look for a loophole to manipulate the system. So you can't categorically say MTN is manipulating the system. It's maybe our regulators at the time we're signing this agreement, we're not specifics with them when we want them to be listed. Maybe we have given them a long time. And remember that the fine was reduced, and then the payment schedule also was dropped for a very long time. So maybe it's included in that also was the listing of MTN to take a long time.
Many people are worried what will be the end of this find and the investigation. That will the central bank really go to logical conclusion and get us facts and be fair to parties concerned? You
see, number two, we have a challenge here. We have to look at the way we are doing business, how the international committee will look at Nigeria as a country. Foreign investors that we are craving that they should come into our economy and try to help us develop the economy. How are they going to look at it? Is it that at the end of the day, what happened to Etisalat will it happen to MTN too? At the end of the day, is MTN going to say, look, we can't pay this fine any longer? Remember, there's a huge fine already on them, and now again you are trying to impose another sanction. And just this morning we're made to believe that MTN also have been given a letter to pay another tax defaulting in tax payment. So you can see that it's just coming to them left, right, and center. So sometimes you begin to ask, is it now that we know they are defaulting? Is there a political undertone to this? Is somebody making sure that MTN does not do business in Nigeria? We need to be on top of our game. If we are regulators, we need to make sure that international committee are able to differentiate political decision to business decision. Two things you don't play with your economy. You don't play. I mean, two things you don't play with as a nation. You don't play with your security. You don't play your economy, because via these two processes, it's the key to the empowerment of your citizen.
This issue is not really about MTN alone. There are 4 banks involved, you know. So we are talking of logical conclusion by the central bank affecting all of this.
You see, when you look at those banks, they are regulators. I mean, they are being regulated by MTN. I'm sure MTN see what they've seen, and I think they will resolve that. And they have to be careful, because you are talking about financial system. You're talking about 4 banks, which are very, very big in terms of, they're a big time player in the financial space in Nigeria. So you need to make sure you handle it professionally.
Many thanks, Muktar.
It's always a pleasure.
I've been speaking with Muktar Mohammed, the CEO of Finance with Muktar. We've been looking at central banks' fines on MTN and 4 other banks in the economy, 2 of them quoted on the stock exchange.